uppercut, uppercut, sonic boom! Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. Welcome back to channel. I'm Bushka, and thanks for joining me today as we go through another smart gameplay guide. This time it's going to be around the resource clusters, the places that you want to go where lots of gear drops, but a lot of other people want to go there because lots of gear drops, and some people want to go there just because they like fighting other fit, happy humans, like that bloke. That bloke looks a lot like some of my patrons. Now, if you want to join Patreon, the link is on the screen now. That will take you to the Patreon webpage. It's a monthly fee, and you get to join in all the activities we do, as well as a private voice and chat server with me. Also, like and subscribe to the videos, because that helps me, like if you want to help the channel. Let's get on with it. This is what I want to really talk about, initiative. You've seen campers so far in this video, and this is the exact thing that I want to talk about. Losing the initiative in your gameplay. Smarter, not harder is one thing, but when you camp like that so savagely, you basically leave yourself with no second option. And the reason we do that, a lot of the reason that we see people do that is conditioned behavior. People start playing a very early game. They start off in Bronze 5. You don't know what you're doing. You don't really understand the gameplay, and it can be very, very daunting. You're playing against predominantly bots, people that aren't moving around very quickly, people that also don't know what they're doing, and that's good. The game teaches you the basics, you know, aiming, the kinds of weapons and what they'll do, sniper rifles, all that kind of mishmash. But what it also unfortunately teaches you is that if you lie down and wait, the other guy will come along, will be a complete muppet, and you'll be able to clear him and kill him. Now, especially in built-up resource centers like Pochinki, which is why we've chosen this video, you will get people that will rely on that. And it's learned behavior. It's something that's worked before. We know it works, so we do it again. And we keep doing it until it doesn't work. And what you will find is that you will beat the bad players doing that kind of thing. And very, very rarely, I mean, we've all been beaten by that kind of crap, but you will get a good player. But predominantly, you're going to get absolutely whomped if you take a completely static approach to PUBG Mobile. PUBG Mobile is a dynamic game that, at its best, encourages gunfights that have multiple options and decision trees happening in real time with voracious momentum. Oh, Dr. Disrespect, speed, momentum, violence. So that's why I love, and that's why I drop here. I drop here not for the gear. I drop here for the gunfights. And let's have a little look at that. You can see that there's so much going on here, and I'm using an Uzi, and that is a big part of the kind of weaponry and loadout you want to be running on this particular instance. Uzis, Tommy guns, anything that has a really, really fast time to kill and is very, very easy to hip fire. M416s are the predominantly most favored guns in the game, and I don't want to go banging on about the M4. I mean, I've done that a few times. I mean, every time. And people kind of get sick of, why are you hating on the M4, Bush? Because the M4 is awesome. It's never done anything to you. I love it. Get out of here. I want to buff it. Basically, it's not the best kind of weapon for this kind of engagement. And look at this. There's two people here. And this is what I mean about decision trees and having to work through a whole bundle of options. And sometimes you just have to shoot one of these guys and win the engagement. You can't get around that. And this is why you drop here. You learn to get better by getting these engagements consistently. I will tell you that your average length of game will go down if you drop in Pochinki, and that ain't because you're doing so well, it's because you're dying. And you'll start up again and then start it all over again. But the reason you run an M4 is for long-range sprays. You don't run an M4 for up close and personal. I've got a website out there that you can go to, thebushka.com. It has pretty up-to-date time to kills for all the weapons. That's how long it takes to clear a level 2 vest. This is a little bit dodgy at the moment because there's a whole thing going on with 90 frames per second, when 90 frames per second is actually giving some weapons an advantage over their 60 frames per second version of themselves, and other weapons a disadvantage over the 60 frames per second version of themselves. And that means that I haven't updated the numbers to reflect 90 FPS across the board. But if you want to know about time to kill and the best time to kill guns, go there and check it out. And there's guns like the UMP, the Vector, the guns that are kind of in between, like nice rate of fire, good time to kill, excellent explosive damage, which is limb damage. And then there's guns that are just one set win. Like there is nothing else they do well. And guns like the Graza, the Uzi, these are the guns we're talking about. The Tommy gun, which has an enormous clip, is crap at range, but can absolutely brutalize people up close. These are the guns we're talking about. And if you're in a place like Pochinki, they're the kinds of guns you want to be running. They give you an advantage over anyone that's running a gun that's a nice balanced loadout. Now, a lot of people will run a 5.56 AR, particularly if they're new to the game, because they've watched their heroes run those weapons. I mean, if you remember back in the day, no one really ran AK and ran DP28 a whole lot, and then Mortal came out and started running the Mortal loadout, the AKM and DP28, and suddenly there were hordes of Indian teenagers out there going, Bushka, you're a noob, you should be using the AK and the DP28, including Mr. Ouija, my best mate, who isn't an Indian teenager, but is also a very angry human, and Swiss Cheesel, if you heard me call him my best mate, I'm sorry. I got caught on a little tangent there. What about Snake Eyes? Where's he gone? Now, talking about being dynamic, you can see pushing in, taking the initiative. One of the things that constantly moving and taking the initiative in these kinds of engagements does is it keeps people off pace. That guy was engaging with someone else, right? So, that was a horrible grin. And I'll tell you why, my bloody joystick locked up. Now, we're going to do the old look at the footsteps thing, figure out where he is. I was very worried about that. I don't know what he's saying. He's saying something. And he was engaged with that other guy, but because we pushed really hard and we constantly moved, we got the win there. We managed to turn it into a really, really easy kill because he got flustered. And this is one of the things you will find. People will get panicked. And when you play enough, I have to reiterate this, I've been playing since Season 1. Now, that guy was doing the same thing I was doing, right? But he just mistimed his jump. That's a flat-out good loadout too. Look at his loadout. M4 and an Uzi. So he's got the M4 for long range and mid-range and the Uzi. Also, if you want to see the other smart gameplay guide I just did, click on the top right corner of the screen. More tips and tricks, lots of stuff, lots of playlists out there for that. And as I was saying, I've been playing for quite some time, since Season 1, and I don't like banging on about this but it is something that needs to be talked about because it's experience. Like, this is an experienced play I'm about to make here against an inexperienced player. And I'm going to hit the tree, and I'd very rarely fall for something like this because if I hear this kind of noise, I'm looking in the kill feed to see where the kill is, and if the noise stops and there's no kill, I'm very, very suspicious immediately, even though I heard two kinds of weapons there. And notice how I used both weapons on that bot call. I got lucky because someone else started firing up behind me, who I'm going to go and sort out now, and that made that guy think that it was a little bit further away than it was. But still in all, you want to be watching the kill feed for that kind of thing. This is the guy who was just making the noise. I actually think he's in the middle there, but then as I run past this, I see the footsteps are behind me. And so we turn around and we get him. Again, Uzi versus AKM. AKM, very, very good close quarters gun, but not as good as the Uzi. The Uzi's big drawback there is obviously that it only has a very limited amount of killing power in the clip. The AKM can go through a lot more targets than an Uzi can without having to reload. So that's a win. There's the bloke at the crate. We're going to get the crate, and then I'm going to show you a couple of things before the end of the game. This is obviously not at a major resource center, but I do think there's a couple of things I can show you here that are a little bit interesting. That was kind of odd. I don't know what happened there. That guy was shooting at me, but well and truly before I'd been hit. But it could well have been that he was going for another target near me. We go out in the field, get the Orm, and we start looking to win the game. Now, I'm going to move to a short duration, short stay motel in a second. This is the little hut, just the little builder's hut in the middle of the site. And all I'm doing here is basically watching for where the circle's going to go. You'll see just to my southwest is the only elevated part of ground really left inside the circle. I'm going to make a very aggressive move to the top of that and take that because that is so incredibly powerful. That is the best real estate on the map right now. And there is always going to be a situation like this where you've got to weigh up the pros and the cons. And this is where we talk again about initiative. Look at the people crawling around afraid to take the initiative. I mean, crawling in the grass, crawling in the wheat, crawling in the behind the rocks, like it just really does baffle me still after all these seasons how there's a lot of new players just won't go and seek out the resources on YouTube that they need. They just watch a lot of crap that doesn't really tell them any of this stuff. But if you're new and you're watching this, grass will only render out to like 120 meters, okay? After that, you're just crawling in an open field and it's late game and you are going to get absolutely whomped. And a lot of people I've seen on Reddit and on forums and things before say, I got hacked, I was crawling around in the field, there was no way he could have seen me, and then he shot me in the head. It's a you problem, buddy. And we take the initiative. We get on the high ground, and we are now absolutely on the very edge of the circle, meaning it's impossible for someone to be running around behind us. We can't get backdoored. We only have to worry about the area slightly to my left and slightly to my right. I just missed the foot shot on this bloke. Oh, his footsie would have finished him, but someone nuts him out of there anyway. And that means I can focus on just the people in front of me, which makes life a lot easier. And again, this is after playing a lot of seasons. You get used to doing these things as best practice, as part of your daily diet. But why not start doing it now, even if you've only just started playing PUBG Mobile a season or two ago? A lot of people do watch tournaments and things, and there's a lot of stuff you can learn from tournaments, but tournament play and public gameplay is very, very different. The kind of gameplay style is very different. You don't see nearly as much snaking around in grass and tournaments until you get towards the end of the game. You don't see the kind of camping you see here. Most of the players in tournaments are absolute gods of war when it comes to taking an advantage and ramming it down people's throat. And again, this is why you go to the back edge of the circle. I've seen a guy down there just behind that tree on the right. We're going to just wait. I can't see him. I don't have a clear shot, and I really would like a clear shot because I got old man eyes. Anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the content. Great to be back again. We're going to have a live stream this Monday morning, my time. Stick around for that. That's going to be Sunday night, Pacific and Eastern Standards. So stick around for that. Look after yourselves, and as always, stay safe on the battlefield. Oh, and why not go follow me on Twitter @BushkaOnBlitz or Instagram @TheBushka. Bye for now.